The winter sun hung low over downtown Seattle, casting long gentle beams across Pike Place as Lisa sat alone at the cafe table, her scarf tucked tight against the cold breeze, her fingers curled around a paper cup that had long stopped steaming. She had arrived 15 minutes early for her Christmas blind date because she always arrived early for everything, and because she had convinced herself that punctuality could somehow compensate for the sharp edges of loneliness she carried like a second coat. She watched families stroll by, laughing children tugging at mittened hands, lovers sharing pastries, tourists stopping to photograph the market sign, and every few seconds she checked her phone, tapping the dark screen as if sheer will could summon a reply. The blind date had been her best friend Mariah's idea, a last attempt to nudge her into holiday romance after a year that had been more heartbreak than happiness, and though Lisa had protested, she had agreed because December always made her weak to hope. She had chosen a red sweater under her gray coat, hoping she looked festive without trying too hard, but as the minutes ticked past and the cold pressed deeper, she realized she had been stood up again. She typed a quick message to Mariah saying, "I think he is not coming," and tried to laugh it off, but her chest felt tight and her throat pinched, and she hated that disappointment could still find her so easily, even in daylight, even in crowds, even in a city that had seen her cry before. She considered getting up and leaving, but her legs refused to move, as if letting go of the seat would be admitting something final. She watched a couple walk past carrying a small decorated Christmas tree, its branches dusted with glitter, and despite herself she whispered "Merry Christmas" to no one and everyone at once. Suddenly the chair across from her scraped loudly, and for a second she thought maybe her date had arrived late, flustered, out of breath with some silly adorable excuse, but instead a little girl about 6 years old with curly brown pigtails and a red coat 2 sizes too big climbed onto the chair and looked straight at her with wide curious eyes. Lisa blinked confused and glanced around, searching for the child's parent. Then a man in his mid-30s hurried over, pausing just beside the table, his cheeks flushed, his black jacket dusted with flecks of snow. He gave an apologetic smile and said, "I am so sorry, she just wandered over here. She does that sometimes." But before he could pull the girl away, the little one leaned forward, placing her small gloved hands on the table, and asked in a soft sweet voice, "Can we join you?" Lisa opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The father gave a nervous laugh and said, "Honey, she might want to sit alone," but the girl shook her head stubbornly and looked back at Lisa, her eyes shining like tiny ornaments, her voice warm and insistent. "You look sad. Nobody should be sad on Christmas." The words hit Lisa harder than she expected, and suddenly the cold didn't feel as sharp and the disappointment didn't feel as heavy. She found her voice and said, "You can sit if you want." The father hesitated, but the girl cheered, climbing higher in her seat. He finally settled into the other chair, smiling, embarrassed but grateful. The girl announced, "My name is Emma and this is my daddy. His name is Ben, but sometimes I call him Banana because it is funny." Lisa laughed genuinely for the first time that day and introduced herself. Emma swung her legs excitedly and pointed at Lisa's red sweater, saying, "I like your color. It looks like Santa's favorite." She reached for Lisa's cup, asking, "Is that hot chocolate?" Lisa nodded and Emma grinned, her missing front tooth shining. She told them she had been Christmas shopping with her dad, but she got tired and bored, and then she saw Lisa looking lonely and decided that lonely people should have company. Lisa asked her what she had been shopping for, and Emma proudly held up a small green bag, saying, "A present for Daddy, but he is not allowed to know what's inside." Ben smiled, shaking his head, saying, "She has a big heart, probably too big for me to keep up with." Lisa watched them interact, a father trying his best, a daughter glowing with joy, and she felt a warmth growing in her chest, something like the feeling she had hoped a Christmas blind date might bring, but this was gentler, steadier, real. Ben finally asked if she had been waiting for someone, and Lisa hesitated before admitting it was supposed to be a blind date, but I guess he changed his mind. She tried to sound light, but Ben's expression softened and he said, "Whoever he is a fool." Emma nodded very seriously, adding, "You are pretty and nice too. You should eat cookies with us." Lisa smiled and felt her eyes sting with unexpected emotion, as if the universe had seen her small quiet heartbreak and had sent this little girl like a glowing ornament to brighten her day. The noise of the market swelled around them, music, laughter, footsteps, coffee grinders, but somehow their small table felt peaceful. Emma asked Lisa if she liked Christmas, and Lisa told her she did, but lately it made her feel a little lonely. Emma frowned, tapping her chin in serious thought, then declared, "Daddy is lonely too sometimes, especially when he looks for parking." Ben coughed, embarrassed, and Lisa tried not to laugh. Emma continued, "But we fix lonely days by eating cookies and watching Christmas movies, and Daddy says sometimes good surprises come when you are not looking." Lisa glanced at him and he offered a shy shrug, saying, "Kids repeat everything." She squeezed her cup and felt the warmth returning slowly like daylight creeping onto a cold window she watched Emma talk about her favorite Christmas story and her school play and how she had been a snowflake who forgot to twirl and fell off the stage, and Ben would correct small details or add tiny jokes that made Emma giggle. The scene felt so normal, so gentle, so human that Lisa wished it could stretch a little longer. She realized she did not miss her blind date at all, not anymore. She felt something shifting, something soft unfolding inside her, as if kindness itself had pulled up a chair. The three of them talked until Emma began yawning, her eyelids drooping, and Ben said they should let Lisa go enjoy the rest of her afternoon. He thanked her for being sweet to Emma and for letting them join her. Lisa thanked them too and meant it more than she could say. Emma slid off her chair, then surprised Lisa with a quick tight hug, saying, "Merry Christmas, I hope you are never lonely again." Ben's voice softened as he added, "Merry Christmas, Lisa." She watched them walk away, Emma holding her father's hand, swinging her green gift bag like a bell, and the cold no longer felt biting and her heart no longer felt hollow. She looked at the empty seat across from her, the one she had saved for someone who never came, and for the first time she felt grateful he hadn't shown up, because otherwise she wouldn't have met a little girl with curly pigtails who believed no one should be sad on Christmas. She stood, smoothed her coat, and stepped back into the bright winter day of Seattle, feeling lighter than she had in months. The crowd moved around her, but she no longer felt like an outsider among them. She whispered to herself, "Merry Christmas," and for once it felt true and full and warm. The end.